things like, people disagree with me. I know there are people that hate champions, but at the end of the day, like, they do actually represent a shift in lateral power, and they represent a shift in what perks actually mean you are generally more powerful in certain end game activities.
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure what the general consensus on champions. I mean, in my opinion, I would say they're honestly one of my favorite things added in Destiny 2, kind of full stop. I think they're a really, really good. That's just my opinion, but I think champions are amazing. It's such a unique, just simple but powerful. They're not. This obviously is some activities they can be. But they're cool little mechanics, and even the mods themselves, they're so subtle but cool. Just having anti-barrier, the ability to go through Hydra shields and Phalanx shields and Night walls, the disruption rounds, just the ability to be able to stun and kind of slow down the enemies slightly. Unstoppable doesn't have much of a use outside the champions, except for, I guess, staggering. But I honestly just
itself
I really love. I really love the anti-barrier and disruptor rounds, especially. They're subtle but cool, and the bosses as well. They're very cool looking, and they're intimidating kind of. But there's a rhythm to them that, like, it's so satisfying when you know how to time an anti-barrier and you can put bullets into them, reload or switch weapons. You know he's going to shield, and then you're because obviously if you get the timing wrong, pops a shield, regens, and kills you. But when you get the timing right, I honestly think the champions and the mods are two of the best things Bungie have added. Definitely one of the best things about Shadowkeep. I really like them, honestly.
And it's a great example of how those mechanics can work out, because they aren't just meat shields and bullet sponges in that sense that happen to regen all their health unless you use this special thing. The mods themselves not only act independently as these things that can be useful against other enemies as a mod on their own, but they're also capable of creating opportunities. Like seasonal artifacts give us probably some of the best examples of this, but Spoils of War last season, finishing a champion giving heavy ammo, just like a finder brick, is a huge perk which you can use as a resource. And people can use these perks that make them so powerful that they can actually solo Grandmaster Nightfalls using these particular perks. It's really quite something when you have an enemy, but you can view them equally as a resource. That's quite something, I can't remember what the previous perks in previous seasons are, but I know that I've more than once been able to look at a of course, there are mods where if you break a champion's barrier or if you stun a champion, it will regen an ability, and that in itself is a fantastic way of taking a look at.
Surge maybe.
There's something like Surge Eater, something like Surge Eater, or just
I'm not sure the name. Something
I know
like that.
One of those is the best example. That's the great one from last season. Surge Eater and oh god, there was one that was
there's two of them where it gives you back from the names.
Yeah, but you take those abilities and you basically have a way of saying, like, this is not just an enemy. If you use it right, it's a resource. And just in the same way, you can design other enemies like that. And this all feeds back into that same question of how do you solve the leveling curve? And again, I'm not a developer, so I'm pretty sure that it is not as easy as what I'm saying, but I would love to think that it is, that I'm correct in saying at least that it is bound up in both encounter design and in the variety of perks that you get. Like, champions are a really great first step towards doing that and creating that lateral power that requires a player to have a variety of loot that they can use at their disposal. And even if this only ever happens at, like, the highest tier activities, like GM Nightfalls, I get that, and that's fine, and I really do appreciate that that may be the only place where this can truly be a thing. If so, that's fine, because that still solves our leveling debacle, because you just don't level people up and you allow those hard endgame encounters to be the ones where that lateral combat approach is really required. That's, I think, the potential forward destination for Destiny as far as creating a new kind of leveling system is. You aren't judged by how powerful your character is on light level. You're judged by how powerful they are based on what loot they have, which, has always been a very understated thing in Destiny, I feel. So yeah.
And on that very small simple thing, the fact that you can now put them onto exotics, very cool as well.
Bellissimo.